And there you have it, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Tuesday. It's Heading Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. I am your host, Scott Steehn, lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over winnersandwhiners.com.
And together we do this each and every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. We head you in, we help to guide you in that perilous journey to give you the best opportunity to head back to the window. Scott, were you heading back to the window a lot yesterday? How'd you do?
Kinda. I know we won the play that we had on this show. Spoiler alert. We had the Grizzlies +4 as well, so that worked out well. Unfortunately, once Embiid was ruled out, I might have loaded up on the money line, and that did not work out. So Ja was really good for about 47 minutes and 55 seconds.
There you go.
Then he blew the free throw to give them the lead. Then he was awful in overtime, and the 76ers won with no Embiid. So as a whole, my day was not great, but for the actual plays on the channel, I feel like we had a pretty good day.
Not bad. I had my play of the day was on Notre Dame plus the points, and normally you'd say they never got off the bus. Fuck, I don't think they ever showed up at the meeting place to get on the bus. They were just awful from the beginning. Well, they actually played a good...
What did they score, 14 points in the first half?
Yeah, it was dreadful. I think they lost the second half, like 32-31. They played a good second half, but it was too late by then. So, and we needed every one of those points. We've got a good number on Memphis at +3.5. They ended up losing by 3 in the game you were talking about. And had the Iowa Hawkeyes, Scott, usually, overtime, not the friend of underdog bettors, right? Wrong.
Well,
Wrong.
They were at home, a little boost at the end.
Yep.
Iowa. That was a hell of a game, though.
It was good game, and Iowa couldn't get it done there. So yeah, not a dreadful day.
You're telling me a Big Ten team that was favored on the road lost again? I can't.
I know, dude. I know you're going right into the teeth of that, and I'm doing it again tonight. So God bless me. Yeah. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody, if you haven't done so already. We'd appreciate it. We're one away from 16,000 or from 15.6, Scott. So or 13.6, wherever we are. We're one away from the next 100. So
cool.
Subscribe to the channel. If you've been thinking about it, you've been putting it off, you've been kicking the tires a little bit. It's time to pull the trigger. What can I do to put you in this show this afternoon? That's what I want to know. And of course, most importantly, if you don't like and subscribe, we're pulling our show from Spotify. So I can just like Neil Young. Scott, I got to think that, regardless of what your situation is, what you think about what's going on, I got to think somebody more impactful than Neil Young is going to have to pull their catalog, or Spotify is going to be like, I'm sorry, we had Neil Young on there?
To be honest, I had to Google who that was.
And no, you didn't. No, you did not.
I pay attention to old music. I'm pretty, I'm an old soul, so to speak. I did need a refresher on who the hell Neil Young was, because I haven't heard that name in like 15 years.
It's better to burn out.
I feel like he's been living under a rock, just waiting for this moment,
Yep. It's he keeps a rather low profile. Hey, good to see some folks in the house. Euler Foster, here's James S. They've been here for a while, man. They've been here just chatting with each other. So if you guys want to show up and do a little pre-show and talk amongst yourselves, feel free. Apparently that's a thing.
Pre-show, pre-game, while pre-showing,
whatever it is.
Anything you really want.
Yep. David the Italian in the house. David Good here. He's got South Carolina +6.5 tonight. +8.5, rather. Sorry. I had to tilt my bifocals up. Sorry. Oh, Scott, South Carolina tonight. Are the Cox game this evening?
I can't say that they're a good team, but Mississippi State's been
a good team.
Okay. I mean, they're 11-1 at home straight up. They're 7-4-1 at home ATS. South Carolina, I can say, is kind of just a pretty underwhelming road team, but both teams are 13-7.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to make the record argument and the fact that both these teams are, I'd say, mediocre, laying 8.5 does seem like a lot of points.
I was going to say, that's a lot of points, man. These teams seem pretty evenly matched to me. I'd ride the Cox there. I think that's solid.
I'd probably consider Mississippi State if it was around like 5.5, but 8.5 seems like a ton.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I'll play that as well. Quick reminder, guys, what do we got? What do we got going on here, Scott? Man, it's a different day, and we've got a different hookup. Of course, this is the Caesars situation, you know the deal. Our first partner, we'll always have love for your first, Scott, and our first was Caesars, and they've got a fantastic deal going across the country, across the brand, wherever you have the Caesars app. Please take advantage of this. They're going to match your first deposit with a free bet up to $1,500 when you put in at least $50. So whatever you put in, they're basically going to match it. It's a no-risk bet. That's the kind we like, right? We don't like to gamble. We like sure things around here. That's why we that's why we like to bet on politics. Scott, you were looking at other countries' politics last night, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah.
Because it was 4 a.m. I had nothing else to do, so I was going through the betting markets. I was hoping that there were some futures up for either NHL player awards or for the NBA.
Yep.
Just to get some updates. I like to see where I'm at. I got my Monty Williams Coach of the Year ticket. He's down to about even money, which is good.
Yep.
So hopefully he holds on there.
Good.
I got that at, I want to say 5-1 a couple of months ago. So I'm holding on there. But yeah, a lot of politics going on in India and the Philippines and
Good
France.
times.
And I was going through the lines, and general rule of thumb, the favorite usually wins. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. So yeah, whatever you want to bet on, you got to use it within 30 days. So make sure you do that. But the important thing to know is the code. It is Whiners Caesar it's their stock symbol. It's CZR. So Whiners, just like you think, Whiners, all one word, CZR. That's the code. Up to $1,500. Match your bet. Do it. Love it. Welcome Caesars. Of course, only in the states where they have the app available, and you must be 21 to play. And if you think you may have a problem, please seek help and stop betting. All right. So
I'll tell you one thing I was tempted by. They had the parties up for the Senate races. I believe that's in, I don't even know, November.
This year, November.
Yeah,
yes.
So they had some odds up already. You can lay a bunch of juice. Same story, you know. If you want to lay the huge juice, it's free money. But I did see a prop on Herschel Walker to win the Senate race. I believe him winning in Georgia was around -165.
Uh-huh.
I actually think he's going to win. That's just me.
I don't know who. I can't remember which one. If he's running against Ossoff or Warnock.
Now, of course, I'm not going to bet it now because that would potentially cash in 9 months. So there's no point in me rushing to it. But I do think Herschel's going to win. If you want to know my brief thoughts on that, you
fair enough. Without looking at it a whole lot, I think there's a really good chance.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
David Goods' Heart of Gold. Yep, fine album, great song. Neil Young. Rust Never Sleeps is probably my favorite with the fuzzy guitar and shit. That's outstanding. I like crappy teams, aka Eastern Illinois. Eastern Illinois been playing good basketball lately, Scott. I think they've won 2 straight. Buddy's House of Food's in the house. He likes this Bucks -11 and under 230. I like both those plays. Are you on the Bucks tonight?
Well, Beal's out, so you're assuming that Washington's offense should look worse. I really don't know what to think about that game, though, because Milwaukee just lost by 36 at home to Denver.
Yep.
And that's a good bounce-back spot for them because the Wizards have been struggling. They're missing their best player. I guess I'd have to lean Bucks there, but you lost by 36 at home to Denver? With your big three playing?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Not a good look. Zach Vaughn says, Steehn, I know you like current event wagers. Yes, I do. The sex of Rihanna's child is out there. Girl is +100. Fucking bet it all day. Bet it all day.
That's like betting the coin toss. If you get anything that's
not juiced,
even money,
yep,
or so, you take it.
Yep, absolutely.
Speaking of which, by the way, if you like to bet online, the coin toss is -101 on both sides.
Nice. Usually,
so I saw that the other day.
Usually 103, so that's nice.
Usually, I know they're bumping it down. A lot of competition.
Can someone please tell me how the best road team in the NBA, Memphis, lose last night in Philly without Embiid? Disgusting.
Because I had money on him?
Yeah, pretty much. Old man canceled himself. Old man, take a look at my life. I'm pulling my music off Spotify. Yep, you are. Herschel Walker, one of the best football players of all time, MMA career now, political career. Yep.
But one of the best college football players of all time. But that's why I think he's going to win, because he's just a legend in the state of Georgia.
Very good. And Olympic bobsledder. That's right. That's right, Super Sly.
He's done everything.
Man.
So if you want to talk about PR, I don't really think that Walker needs much help in that department. He's got a landslide win in the PR department.
Look at J.C. Stone, a man after my own heart. It's Olympic time. I have Chinese female skier Gu to win gold in the half pipe. It's a lock. I don't know if any of that. I don't know if that's all serious. If it's half, I don't even know. I haven't even looked up the half pipe yet. And bad husband Walker, yes. I lost $1 million on the Grizzlies. Should have had him plus 3.5, buddy. Got to get in there early. Hey Scott, let's talk about a little bit of this stuff. I went to 0-10 in Vegas. Oh, sorry for
that. Happens, man.
It does. It absolutely.
That's where the pie gal comes in.
Oh, pie gal, good times. Good way to build your comps.
It's a great way to build your comps.
Let's talk a little bit about what happened yesterday as we go through it. I know I sense there's a few perhaps people that it didn't go well for. Scott, maybe they're going to find themselves on the list. You know who you are. The only thing you had left at the end of the day was that cell phone, and you know you get one call. You better be using it to call the cops. All right, we'll start it off in the NBA. Trailblazers Thunder under 215 at 86 points in the first half. What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong, Scott? Game landed.
Oh, well, that's the rocking chair, so I think you're reading the wrong one.
You're right. Hey, there we go. Hey, we'll start in the NBA. I'm reading that going, what the fuck? All right, take two. We'll cut that out for the pod. Warriors Rockets under 229.5. They needed less than 65 points in the third quarter. That seems like a reasonable get. That plays out at 260 across the game. So yeah, 265. That's reasonable. No, that's not what they got. They got exactly 65. Like they were fucking aiming for it. Game landed 230. If you had under 229.5 there, you might be yelling, fixed. But it's not. It's just you. Call the cops.
And if you want to look at another bad beat on a total, if you had the under in the Iowa-Penn State game, total was 139.5. Game landed 132 after 40 minutes. That's an even number, 66-66. Game went to double overtime. Game landed 176.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. And finally, if you had Colorado State and Wyoming under 144.5, Wyoming led 70-69 with 1 second left. Oh, for fuck's sake.
You make 2 or you make 0.
Colorado State got fouled. You're right. You got to make 2. You got to make none. If you missed the first one, oh, man. Made the first one. And then for the money, no, sorry. Game landed 162 after overtime. That 144.5. That is just a distant memory. Call the cops.
I actually watched that game. That was a hell of a game.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it was better if you had the over than the under, but in general, that was a very solid game.
Yep, absolutely. Well, there were some people that were on the opposite side, and you might know who you are, and you might even know what the first game is. Let's find out who it is, Scott, as we reveal today's rocking chair wins.
So the first one, if you had the Trailblazers and the Thunder under 215.5, you had 86 points in the first half, and the game landed 179. Not even close.
Yep, absolutely. Heading to the ice, if you had the Panthers Blue Jackets over 7, you had to be feeling good after 20, Scott. Why? Because they put up 6 goals in the first period. Didn't take their foot off the gas much. They put up 5 in the second period. By then, pretty much everybody was gassed, so they just added 1. But that game landed 12. Holy shit, I hope you had some alternative totals there in the Panthers Blue Jackets game, because that was a rocking chair.
I think that's that might be a first for this show. You actually had a total of 7 on the over. That was a rocking chair.
Mm-hmm.
But for the last one, if you had TCU plus 6.5 against Oklahoma, TCU playing some good ball lately. They never trailed by more than 1, and they won by 9 points.
Very good. Very good. All right, we haven't done this in a while. Let's. I'll check in the comments here before we keep moving. Fort Collins is a shitty town. Not a fan. I'll say there's a lot cooler towns in Colorado than Fort Collins.
Well, it's 2022. Do people still use forts?
They don't use many forts. No,
they don't use forts anymore.
I love doing. That's one of my favorite things to do when I was on the road. I'd love going to old forts and seeing them. Some of them were restored, and
I thought you were going to say, like, as a kid, you just like to build forts.
No,
that took a different direction.
That's a lot of work. No, I like to go see forts. So,
okay. All
right. So let's talk about who this is. As we were getting ready for the show, I happened to run across something. Scott, did you know that virtual real estate market is estimated to be $1 billion this year. $1 billion.
I can't see it.
$1 billion. I think that just blows my mind, man. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because we jack around enough. But
I think the only point I'll make just quickly, does that mean that like The Sims and Minecraft were just like significantly ahead of their time?
Yes, absolutely. It's
kind of my takeaway from that.
Fucking unbelievable. So let's talk about who's wearing the golden feed bag. We haven't done one. We didn't do one yesterday, so let's do it today, shall we, Scott? Let's find out who it is as we award the much coveted prize and find out who's wearing the golden feed bag in the Tuesday edition of Donkey of the Day. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know for this one, we kind of switched it at the last second.
Audible.
We're doing the new
Omaha.
one, right?
Omaha.
Yeah. So I'll let you have this one.
No, go ahead. What is it? What were you going to do?
Well, we were originally going
to
do Kevin Porter Jr.
Yep.
For Trash Talking Curry.
I forgot what we changed it to.
We changed it to the NFL's $1 million handout.
Yeah, that's.
I'll let you take the floor on that.
Yeah, and this was a tweet that you had. The NFL is ponying up $1 million to look at the effects of cannabis on pain versus opioid painkillers that they're using in the NFL now. And your tweet, and I thought you made a great point. This is a multi-billion-dollar entity. The NFL, obviously, they give away $10 million to social justice causes and charities and a lot of things like that. And there's a pretty good body of evidence right now that shows in states that had opioid problems, those opioid addictions go down dramatically when cannabis is made legal for medicinal purposes. So for the NFL to not care about their players, the long-term effects of opioids, the long-term effects of pain, and how to manage that pain, to spend $1 million when that's a drop in the bucket to what is actually needed if they want to take this seriously. It's shameful. NFL, I award you Donkey of the Day.
$1 million for a company that's making billions every year.
$1 billion. Yeah.
$1 billion. And yet, of course, the NFL has been sued by about half the players, whether it involves CTE or even just drug addiction and everything like that. But $1 million, you're going to pay the weed investigation less than a third-string quarterback?
Yeah. Scandalous.
I mean, come on. You got to at least add a zero in there or something.
Yep. Agreed.
But
Do a real study. Let's find out.
$1 million? Really? Okay, I just found that pathetic.
David the Italian, I don't know if you've ever seen this, Scott. 35 years ago, he flew into Vegas with the gold sheet, ready to kick some ass. First 8 college football games, $33 each. Lost them all. Scott, you ever use the gold sheet?
That I have not, but I know what that is.
Okay. All right.
Are you a parlay card guy when you go into some of these?
Yeah, I can't resist. It's best when you're listening to this in the car with the windows down and the donkeys with plenty of cars around. I love that idea. The nerds had it all along. Yeah, James, exactly. You knew in your heart when you would meet fucking nerds, you knew you were going to end up working for them someday. You just knew the fuckers were gonna rule the world. All right, let's do this one, Scott. And I know we skipped it yesterday. We got a little busy. We'll do it today. Let's find out. Last night there was some questionable lines, but this one I think was probably the most questionable of all. The odds makers, God damn it, guys! What do you give up the Coke and now you're drinking? Put the bottle down because you're definitely drunk. What you got?
So, college basketball, you had a game between SIU Edwardsville and Austin Peay. And the total in that game was 135.5. It landed 131. So you might be wondering why this on odds makers were drunk. It landed 131 after 50 minutes instead of 40 minutes.
Whoa.
The game went to double overtime, and it still went under. The odds makers were not even close.
Oofta. Oh man, that's the opposite of the Iowa game where it's just just obliterated it. So very good indeed. Let's check it in. I don't get drunk, I get awesome. That's funny. Dave the Italian had not heard a gold sheet blast in years. Yeah, I wonder if they still sell them at the track too, because you can get the sheets at like the dog track or the horse track.
See, Fernando, I'll give you a bright side since you said you lost your first couple of games in Vegas. I believe you got comp drinks, so at least you got that going for you.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that was the back in the day when they would still treat sportsbook patrons like they were actual casino guests and give them free drinks and stuff. I understand, Scott. I haven't been to Vegas in a few years, but I understand it. That's no longer a universal policy.
It's not. I believe the way that it works, that if you're actually on the casino floor, either at a table game or even at
a slot,
or a slot, or even if you're playing craps or something with dice, something with a slot, something with a table,
something with a hold over 15%.
Pretty much, something with a hold over 15%, your drinks are free. But if you actually go to a sports book, they'll give you some complimentary water. That's kind of it.
Great, super. Yeah. Magellan Sports says that Gold Sheet is now owned by Wager Talk. It's still a piece of shit. Good to know. All right, so let's talk a little college basketball tonight. Got a lot of games. Ziwa Carter looking at Davidson.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that one later. Maybe.
North Carolina and Texas Tech. This Texas Tech team at home, very, very good, Scott. It's going to be the.
You want to lay that in a rivalry game?
No. It's the. I'm tempted. I'm tempted, but what do you think of this Texas team, man? Because they play just that lockdown defense.
They can't score,
but the offense is just been dreadful. But I'm not thrilled about laying 4.5. But I don't want any part of Texas on the road. You?
It's a really tough spot because I know money's coming on the over. I would lean under.
Yeah, it was 119. Serious money's come in on the over.
I am going to lean under now. I feel like the value on the over is gone. But since I'm expecting a rock fight in this game, I'll take the 4.5 because I do think that if you're expecting points to be at a premium in this game, that always favors the dog in the situation. So I'll hold my nose and take Texas.
All right, fair enough.
I like the under. Yeah, I'll hold my nose and take Texas.
I didn't like the under at 119. I didn't want to get involved, but if I'm seeing 123 in some spots, I can't resist that, man.
Do you think both teams get to 60? I don't.
That's the thing, and somebody brought up the point in the comment section, and it's a very good one. It's Bryce Multane says Texas can win because Beard knows Texas Tech. Can't argue with that, right? He knows that personnel, except obviously anybody that joined this year, but. Odds makers were drunk.
I think the only team I'm okay with laying an under with like 118, 1 whatever is Virginia, which is kind of coincidental because they actually have a total below 120 today.
Mm-hmm.
But that's usually the one team you look at and the total goes out the window. It's like, oh, the total's over 90. I'll take the under in the Virginia game. But for most teams, I'd say 119.5 is usually the cutoff point for a lot of people.
Now, you're usually the guy that will play the steam, Scott. Are you thinking that square action where people are just auto betting because it's below 120?
Well, I know in years past they have had some high scoring games. So I do know that if you want to go by trends, Texas and Texas Tech have actually played some high scoring games lately. So I'm assuming it's all trend betting. But based on how the teams have played this season, I don't trust either offense. So you can make an argument that maybe they'll find a way. I just can't buy into that narrative because I don't trust either offense.
Okay. All right. Very good. North Carolina was the other.
Do you like the guard play on both rosters? Because I really don't.
No, you can't have a team that puts up what they do and say, yeah, I really love the guards in this team. So no. And if they had guards, they'd both be top 10 teams. So
I think the big men are fine, but they're also fine defensively. So they're going to rim protect, but. You're looking at the guards, and I think both teams are, let's just say, streaky in the backcourt.
Yeah.
So I'll go with the under.
Okay. Unders are tough to watch. Yeah,
You don't have to watch them.
I'm okay with it. I have fun with those. Fernando Encinas, the T train, Northern Illinois, Western Michigan over 134. We talked a little bit about the MAC tonight, Scott.
There's a lot of games. I don't know how many are good, but there's a lot of games.
I'm trying to get to it. You got a rotation on
Can
that?
I take an over with Northern Illinois? Because that team's a disaster. That team is such a disaster on offense. I mean, Western Michigan stinks too, but oh boy. I think I'm just blindly leaning under there, but I really don't have a strong opinion on that game. Anytime you're looking at a team that is really awful facing another team that's really awful, I mean, you have a 4-16 team that's a 3.5 point favorite over a 5-13 team. I'm looking at the under. Both offenses aren't very good. Northern Illinois' offense is especially bad. They also play slow. I'm looking at the under in that game.
Western Illinois defense is so bad, man.
They're really, really bad. Wait, the which defense?
I said Western Illinois. I went Western Michigan.
Yeah, but I have a hard time laying the 3.5. I know that Northern Illinois is bad, but Western Michigan's lost 10 in a row. Am I really laying 3.5 in conference play with a team that's lost 10 in a row?
Yeah, I'm playing the over there. Sorry.
Okay, fair enough. I'm looking at the under, but I guess blindly I'd have to consider Northern Illinois because Western Michigan hasn't won a game in, a month?
Yeah.
They're laying 3.5. They haven't won a game in a month.
Yeah.
I kind of have to be tempted by Northern Illinois.
Hard not to ride that trend. Somebody's talking about Wyoming. We've been talking a little bit about the Mountain West and how that is a conference.
Well, they don't play tonight. They just won yesterday.
Yeah, they're a conference that I don't think is getting their due. Good team. San Diego State really coming on at the right time. That defense is just locking people down, dude.
See, they're coming on at the right time, but you have to also acknowledge New Mexico is hot trash.
Yeah, that's true.
So they did win the game handily, but they were favored by double digits pregame. Like you should win that game.
I want to say they were 11-point favorites. I could be wrong.
They won that game by 30. So yeah.
Michigan State tonight, Scott, playing a big game at Maryland. Another road team in the Big Ten, laying points.
It's a blackout game for Maryland. They got the black jerseys on.
Oh, do they?
The crowd's going to be into it.
Okay.
It means nothing to me. I think Maryland stinks.
Yeah.
They're not good. Danny Manning is the interim coach because Turgeon left midseason. Danny Manning's jumped around to a couple of teams. There's one piece of consistency with all of his coaching stops.
Pieces of shit from KU.
I was going to say he's not very good at coaching.
Yeah, no.
Which is kind of the same boat. But, yeah, he's not a very good coach. So you can make an argument that Maryland has some talent. Ayala's okay. Russell's okay. The team's just not very good. Michigan State's won 11 of 13. They had a very nice home win against Michigan over the weekend. I know Michigan stinks, but that's still a rivalry game. Michigan State, though, undefeated ATS on the road this season. So I'm going with the Spartans.
Yep, I'm with you. This is a Maryland team that's just 1-4 against the number at home. They have not been playing good basketball lately. I think this Michigan State team's going to shoot them into oblivion.
They should, or at least out-rebound them to oblivion.
We go over again in the Bama game.
I'm not saying no.
Renzo Brothers wants to know.
I mean, both teams did not exactly shoot that well in the first meeting. They were fine. Game still went well over. So I'm not taking the under. I mean, you're looking at a spot where Bama doesn't play much defense. Auburn does a little bit, but the pace alone should just lead to a track meet.
Yep. Yeah, both.
I think that you'll end up seeing a high-scoring game.
Alabama shot terribly in the first game. They shot 34-8 from the field, 22-6 from.
And how many points did they score in that?
3-point land. They still managed 77 points. So
yeah, I like the over.
I still want no part of the under there with that.
Like if Auburn drops a 90 at home, would you be shocked? Probably not.
No, not a bit.
So I'll go with the over.
Somebody wants to know what's for lunch. We're actually going to Joe's Kansas City today since this is the last week before my diet starts. We're knocking some things off the list, and we're gonna go have a Z-Man. My wife likes the Portobello Z-Man at Joe's Kansas City, so I'm gonna have a barbecue sandwich of some sort. So that's what we're in this early lunch thing, early dinner thing, because my wife gets up early and goes to work now. So I get up about 10, 11 o'clock. I have like a bagel or a couple of pieces of bread, whatever. And then we'll have our big meal, like early bird, old people style, like 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And then that's cool. And then she goes to bed about 10 o'clock. So, boy, that's a lot more than they asked. But I did Breaking Down Game of the 90s before all the computer stuff nowadays. I remember just using newspapers. Yeah. D from Detroit. I always like when old school people check in because that's what we used to fucking have, man. That's it. You'd have the newspapers. If you look back, in the very back of the newspaper, in the for the record section, you'd have the lines, and they'd put the lines up, and that was a big deal. So David Good said, I love Joe's, get him delivered in Tucson. It's the shit, dude. It really is. I wanted to make fun of everybody for the Z-Man, because it's like, top 5 sandwich in the world or whatever. It's fucking barbecue with a cheese and an onion ring, but it's really good. So anyway, nobody likes a quitter. Well, I was wrong to call it a diet, James. It's going to be changing the way I eat. I'm still going to eat. I'm just still hopefully not be hungry. I'm just going to change what I eat. I figure
moderation,
dude. If I haven't had enough of the shitty food that I love in the amount of years I've been on this planet, then fuck it, I've missed out. So, you're only old if you pay the bill with a check. Boy, that's no shit. I write one check in my life, and my wife and I have a pedicurist that comes in, cuts our toenails and shit. And that's the only check I write. She comes in like every 2 months. I look through my checkbook, and it's all to her. I don't write any other checks. So
you're not the person who's sitting at the grocery store.
Fuck no. Fuck those people, dude. ATM card. Come on. How hard is that?
Get something.
Yeah.
Even a Visa prepaid gift card. Do something.
Yeah. I take Crestor and eat one. As a man after my own heart. What else are we looking at, guys? Scott, you see anything else? I know you and I. There's a lot of games in the card. We didn't love a lot of them. I don't say we struggled with the farm, but it wasn't a card where we had like a lot of great options.
It wasn't a slam dunk. I did see one question about the Nevada UNLV game. Money coming in on Nevada. It's gone from UNLV -3 or so to -1.5. I like UNLV here. Mm-hmm. Nevada's 1-4 on the road. They've been playing some awful basketball lately. UNLV had some midseason struggles because their best player was out. Bryce Hamilton came back. He scored 45 points last game against Colorado State, which is an insane performance. They won that game on the road by 14. But I'm looking at Nevada, and I don't know how I can have much faith in you when you lost at home to Utah State by 20. What, they lose by 29?
It was bad.
29 points at home to Utah State.
Not a good team, also. Yeah,
like I'm not exactly thrilled with taking Nevada when they get buried at home against Utah State. Now UNLV 10-3 straight up at home. I'm gonna go with the Rebels here.
Somebody asked about North Carolina, Louisville tonight. Scott, Louisville at home catching 3.5. We haven't talked about this North Carolina team a lot. They've kind of been running in place, doing their thing. They're 15-6 on the season, just 9-12 against the number.
Yeah, they're undefeated at home and in neutral sites, and on the road they're pretty brutal.
Yeah, 2-4 on the road. 7-8 is a favorite. Of course, you got a Louisville team that I haven't been impressed with so far this season. They've lost a lot of bad games, and they've lost 3 straight. Six of their last 7 failed to cover all those numbers. So if they lose, they lose with style.
They also have an interim coach.
That's right. Yeah, he just walked away, right?
They bought him out to walk away, but yeah, Mac's experiment after Xavier did not exactly work out.
For me, even though I'm laying 3.5 on the road, it's got to be Carolina or pass here.
I have to do it on principle. I know Louisville's also battling some injuries, but North Carolina has the size in the interior. The guard play is the weakest link of this team because it's extremely inconsistent. But I do think on the inside they should do enough. I like Manic a lot. Baycott's had a good year. They should dominate on the glass. But Louisville, with the injuries, the interim coach, the overall roster just being terrible, and the recent form being terrible, I got to go North Carolina. If they lose, I would not be surprised because this team is atrocious on the highway. But Louisville's a complete just disaster right now. I can't go near them.
Yeah, and like you said, they do have they do have some injuries, including Malik Williams, who is not Malik Williams out, but missing a couple. Is Williams? I thought he was out. Did I see that for some reason?
I thought he was too. I want to see if there's any update on that. I don't know if it was officially announced out or if he was doubtful technically.
Yeah, I don't even have him on the list.
But let me see.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, he's always battling that foot injury. But either way, I still like North Carolina. James S. said he started listening to our videos, probably my videos at that point, like 3 years ago, and then going down to Laughlin to make bets. Very cool. I hope it worked out well. I mean, you're still with us, so I'm hoping it's been okay. Siena.
He's been fading you. He's been fading you for 3 years.
Yes, D from Detroit. Did you hear about the guy who won $579,000 on I believe a $20 bet, if I'm not mistaken. Correct.
It was a $20 free bet, by the way.
Oh, was that right? Was it a free play?
It was a free play.
Outstanding. Correctly predicting the final score of both conference championship games. I can't imagine how fucking fired up you'd be after hitting the first one in overtime. Holy mackerel! And after holding the Chiefs there,
the 3 points in the final, like 2.5
goal to go. Well, I meant just at the end of the game there when they had the chance to win it. James Mounts. Siena against Canisius. Scott, that's the game we were looking at. That's one of the ones we were looking at for Bet the Farm. I know that we're not anywhere near this Canisius team. I was kind
of they burned me last game.
Yeah,
but they're 0-11 on the road.
Yep.
So
it's hard to stay in front of that. Laying a short price with Siena. I know Siena obviously isn't great, but yeah, I'll lay the 4 there. I'm okay.
Yeah.
When I was married, Dad came to visit, paid for our breakfast, tipped a quarter. The wife lollygagging left $5. I think I've told this story before. There's a couple, a friend of ours that's a couple. We do things with couples, and there's one couple that they don't know how to fucking tip. I mean, I don't know. They're both master's degrees and make fucking, I don't know, 200 between the two of them. Not a ton of money, but they do very, very well. Certainly enough they make enough money to be able to leave a tip, and you have to fucking hang back, and we take turns supplementing their fucking tips. I don't understand it. I don't understand people that don't tip. I don't get it, Scott. You a generous tipper?
I'd say I'm an average tipper. I don't go like above and beyond, but I mean you usually stick to the 18% rule or so.
Okay,
give or take.
All right.
Sometimes more. If I don't want to get change, I'll just throw in some dollar bills and they can keep it, but. I'm usually around the 18%. You're
the guy bringing $50 to the strip club, aren't you?
$50, no. The secret is you bring a couple of dimes.
Jesus.
Just start throwing them.
Creighton,
I'm usually around 18%.
Creighton and UConn tonight, man. God damn it. This Creighton team, I don't know what to think, man. About the time I think they've got it figured out that they've because they were 5 new players at the beginning of the year, so you knew it was going to take a minute. But about the time you think they're going the right way, you get behind them and they end up screwing you. Having said that, 10.5 is a ton. You want to lay 10.5 with UConn?
I'm not touching Creighton. This team is just not very good, and it's fine. They lost a lot of talent. They got to rebuild or retool, whatever you want to call it. But UConn 9-1 at home. That's straight up. Another 5-5 ATS. I just really like this UConn team. I think they're good.
I do too.
Now I'm not sure if this team is good enough to make an Elite 8. I think they're on the cusp. I think they're definitely a Sweet 16 team, but they got the guard play. They got the big men. This team's good. I think that they're a well-rounded team. They also are the only team to beat Auburn this year, right?
Yep.
So I like what I've seen from UConn. Creighton, especially on the road, if it was in Omaha, maybe I'd consider it, but that team's just brutal. I got to go with UConn here.
I'm a pass. That's a pass for me. UConn.
I think it's a pass for me too. But you're asking if I have any interest in Creighton?
No,
I don't.
If I had, gun to the head, I got to play UConn there. They've covered some big numbers at home, or they've won by big margin at home. So I don't trust that Creighton team, not yet. The 17 point loss to Butler. I can't fucking get past that for a minute. Is Alabama the most bipolar team? They beat Houston and Gonzaga, lost to Georgia.
Well, there's one consistent part of that hypothesis. The home team won all 3 of those games.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Houston, they beat Gonzaga, they lost to Georgia. Just another example of a team that's really good at home and really awful on the road.
Fernando Encino says, I support single mothers. Dude, they're all saving up for nursing school. You got to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely tip your strippers. Any other games that jump out?
To that point.
We usually get we are. We usually like somebody asked about the Boston College. I'm trying to catch up. If you asked us about a game we didn't get to it, put it up there real quick. Scott, you're going to test your hypothesis with Virginia and Boston College 118.
I know. It's the hypothesis of, I expect a low scoring game, so you're kind of inclined to consider taking the points. But I'll tell you what, if Boston College gets to 54,
mm-hmm.
they'll cover. I think that's the number because Virginia's not going to score much. This team is so bad on offense.
Yeah.
You knew when they lost to Navy in one of the first games of the season, and they didn't score in like 9 straight minutes in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
This team was going to be a mess. So I kind of agree with you. Boston College plus the points does seem tempting.
Yep.
Is Boston College good? Hell no.
No, they're not.
But defensively, can they hold Virginia to potentially lower than 60?
No.
I think that they got a shot.
Okay, you're right. They held Pitt to 56. They held Carolina to 58 on the road. That's impressive right there.
That's what I'm saying. So if Virginia scores 57, are they going to cover? Probably not. So I'll go with Boston College.
All right, fair enough. Somebody, where was that? Oh, Stanford. Did we talk about Stanford? No, we did not.
We did not.
All right, yeah, somebody asked about Stanford. Sorry, I did see that.
I like the Cardinal there. I think they're an underrated team. I mean, they arguably beat USC twice. I know they won the second meeting. The first one they lost. It was very close. But actually, did they lose that one or did they win both?
Which one?
Did Stanford sweep USC or they chopped? I know they just won the most recent meeting.
Stanford won both of those. One
Stanford did win both.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're looking at Stanford. This team is 12-7, but going through the actual losses, the one really bad loss is to Washington on the road. They lost by 3. Washington's terrible, but home teams occasionally. Plus Washington 6-3 in conference play. They kind of picked it up. But I mean, you lose to UCLA, you lose to Arizona, both on the road. You lose to Texas by 7. You lose to Colorado on the road by 4. I mean, you lose to Santa Clara, second game of the year, by 16. But Stanford's actually been pretty good. I don't think this team's that bad. And California is 2-8 in conference play. This team has, I'd say, underachieved. They weren't supposed to be good, but they've been towards the bottom of the conference. I think it's Stanford or pass.
0-4 ATS on the road, by the way.
The Stanford team, I think, is not that bad. They're a little bit feisty.
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, Stanford or pass for me. Exactly. Michigan game. Did we talk about Michigan? Michigan played tonight? I remember Michigan said. I know Michigan was on the slate. Who they got?
I'm not even... they play Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
Totals dropped from around 144.5 to 142, mostly because Nebraska's offense stinks. I can't lay 14.5 with Michigan. I know Nebraska's awful. Like, I'm well aware of how bad the Cornhuskers are.
Especially on the road, yep.
But Michigan barely beat Northwestern at home. But they won by 2 on a final bucket.
Yep.
14.5. If it was 10, maybe, but 14.5, I can't do that. That's way too many points.
No, and Nebraska, like you said, even though they've been at home, they have covered 3 straight. So
they stink. But are they good enough to compete somewhat with a Michigan team that struggles to even win games, let alone win by margin? I got to go with Nebraska plus the 14.5. That seems a little bit rich.
Let's say Nebraska gets to 63, 64. Is Michigan going to get close to 80? I don't think so.
I think they might, because Nebraska's defense is pretty poor. I think Nebraska should end up with at least 67, 68. I see an 80-67 type of game. I think it'll be close, but I think Nebraska will cover the number.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you. One last one. Your team up there, Scott, St. John's?
They're favored against Providence, so based on the actual theory, you'd assume that I'm going to be on St. John's because they're favored against a ranked opponent at home. And, it's pretty telling. Having said that, I am not taking St. John's because I've seen this team play. They are worse than I thought they were going to be. I think Providence is really good. They're 18-2. I've watched them play. One of their losses was a controversial one to Marquette with a foul call at the end that was debatable. I think this Providence team is very good. They got guard play. They got big men. St. John's, the issue that they have is nobody on the team can shoot. They're an awful free throw shooting team. They're not a great three-point shooting team. I think Providence can do enough with the zone defense to keep St. John's offense off guard, or at least out of rhythm. I'm going to go with Providence. I'm going to go against my usual system.
Okay.
You?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I think Providence is good.
I'm looking at Rangers and the Avalanche. Avalanche at home against Arizona, money line.
What are they, minus 7,000?
Just 370. Dude, that's actually a bargain.
Wait, 370? I see like 600s.
What am I looking at? You must have a more current line. I've got, maybe that's openers here.
Let me see. I'll open up a book, but my grid says it's around 6.
That makes a lot more sense to me. Yeah, that's where I got it as well. I don't know what the fuck they were on there. A pass. I can't lay 6 bills, and I can't do any kind of puck line or regulation with them. They don't win by a lot.
I think the only thing I'd be tempted by would be the Coyotes either plus 1.5 goals at plus 175.
Yeah.
Or if you want to look for an alternative and try to find maybe a 2.5.
Yep. Which
you might be able to find. I found 2.5 on DraftKings at minus 110. I don't mind getting 2.5 goals. So I think that's where I'd go. Of course, the Avalanche could win this game by 5 goals and nobody would be surprised.
That's not what they've been doing, though.
Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah.
Plus, I know that it's a great story. They've won so many home games. There's a lot of added pressure going on because Arizona's showing up knowing they're probably going to lose.
Yep.
They can play free. And I'm sure Colorado's been hearing all over the place, you know how many home games they've won in a row?
Yeah.
You know, they're going to break the record. I'm sure that the pressure is building up a bit where they might be a little bit tight to start. You're going to give me 2.5 goals with a team that's faced this opponent multiple times this season.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I think it's Coyotes or pass.
And with their goalie from last year as well. Right? Oh, no, Grubauer's with Seattle. Sorry. It wasn't a trade for goalies.
They got Darcy Kempfer, who I really like.
Yeah, I know. Rangers? Plus money?
They're getting plus money. They're a good team.
That's what I'm saying.
So Florida played yesterday. They scored, 70 goals in that game against Columbus.
8-4,
It's
right?
with travel.
Yeah.
So it's not a great spot. Sherstagen's going to be in net. I can't go against Sherstagen at plus money. I mean, you got to give me the Vezina favorite at plus 135.
Yep, I like it. All right, here we go.
On principle.
All right, here we go. Let's get ready, buddy. It's Tuesday. It's that time. It's time for everybody to stop what you're doing. Put your phone down. Put those overalls on. Strap them up tight. Grab your straw hat. Pick up your keys. Climb aboard your John Deere. And get ready to bet the farm. Scott, how'd we do yesterday?
We had UNC Wilmington on the money line, and they won again.
There you go. Cue the banjos!
Yeah.
Yeehaw indeed. All right, kids. What do we got cooked up for today?
So we're going to go back to college basketball looking at an underdog in this one. We like Davidson, plus the 3.5 against St. Bonaventure. Davidson has been one of the most underrated teams in the entire country, and they've been really good on the road. The Wildcats are 6-1 straight up and 6-1 ATS on the road. Davidson ranks 11th in offensive efficiency according to Ken Palm. I'll say that again, 11th. They are an elite offensive team. St. Bonaventure is pretty good, ranks 48th, but Davidson should be able to hit enough threes to keep the game extremely competitive. And St. Bonaventure has been brutal ATS at home and really just overall. The Bonnies are 2-10 against the spread in their last 11 games, and St. Bonaventure is 2-6 ATS at home this season. We think Davidson's alive to win the game, but plus 3.5 for the best team in the conference by far this season. We got to go with Davidson plus the points.
Absolutely. This Davidson team can shoot lights out. They shoot 40% from downtown. That's 4th in the nation. And they shoot 49% from the field. We like this team quite a bit. Catching points, I don't care if it's the road or not. Give us Davidson plus the 3.5. And that's going to do it for the Tuesday edition of our show. We appreciate you guys stopping by. Of course, don't forget to check out all the offerings here on the Winners Winers Sports Betting Network. And that includes our pals Jim Williams and Chris King over there every day at Just Parlays, 1:30 p.m. Eastern to 12:30 p.m. Central. But for now, that's it. This is what you get. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and picks. You guys have a great day. Thanks for joining us. Come back to see us tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, as Scott and I do our very best to help you in your journey to head back to the window. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.